Understanding the subconscious mind. As you can see, there is the iceberg theory behind. This analogy is very powerful, I feel, yet simple enough for us to understand that our minds are divided into two parts. As you can see, there's the visible part, which is the 10%, and then the deep dark recesses of our mind, 90% below the iceberg, unseen, unknown even. So 10% typically, if we try to understand the mind, would be the conscious mind. And the conscious mind has got to do with what? Has got to do with awareness. It's the seat of your awareness, immediate tasks that you're doing in the here and now, logical, rational thinking. So when we say use your mind to think, okay, that's just 10%. And of course, we make choices and decisions with our conscious mind. It's the activation of our will, our conscious thoughts, our conscious awareness. But then the 90%, which is below the iceberg, is the subconscious mind. What does the subconscious mind do? Since the conscious mind is the seat of our awareness and we're very much aware of our surroundings, what's happening, what is the subconscious mind? What is its function? And most of you would be able to talk about the ephemeral things, right? Like the areas that we are not even aware of. We don't pay too much attention to things like our belief systems, our values, even emotions are not really under our control. They, when they surface, when we get triggered, we are not really in control of it. But of course, when we become conscious of it, like when we are angry and frustrated or we are fearful, then we can apply some management strategies, emotional regulation strategies. But when and where it happens, most of the time we are not really aware and certainly not in control. And now, of course, you got the deeper, darker stuff like memories. Oh man, long-term memories from childhood, right? And how those memories, depending on the experiences we went through, if it's negative, then we would write for ourselves negative scripts or narratives, right? About the world, right? So the worldview, our belief systems, all come from this deep, dark area called the subconscious mind. And so the subconscious really has this mechanism, which is the automatic processing and reactive part of our mind. We react to things, we get triggered, we get flashbacks, right? And all of that has got to do with our past, our memory storage, and then underlying past emotions which get triggered every now and then. Now, when I talk about emotions, those of us who are familiar with either in my presentation or my training, I talk a lot about utility of emotions. When emotions come out, whether they are negative like anger or whether they are fear and anxiety, sometimes we tend to judge it quickly. We try to remove it, we try to suppress it, right? But actually, if these emotions come up over and over again as a form of what we call a pattern, programs, right? They are actually very useful. Instead of judging it, instead of denying and avoiding it, why don't we use it? And there lies in what we call the utilitarian approach, because they are great interpreters of what's going on downstairs, right? Unresolved issues, maybe past hurts and wounding that has not been processed. And when we do not deal with it, very often it comes out as triggers, even in our present and our future. So when we talk about hypnosis, we're really going down to these dark recesses, because hypnosis, or hypnotherapy as I would much rather call it, is a great tool and approach to peering into this darkness, the dark side of ours, our shadow self, you see, because consciously is only like 10%, and when we do things like talk therapy, counseling, and all those are really good, sometimes we cannot access what's below. And hypnotherapy or hypnosis actually helps bring us to a deeper level of consciousness and awareness. I'm going to show you this last slide, and you can see like a brain wave frequency here is beta. Earlier on, when I talk about a conscious activity, mindful decision making, for example, exercise of your will, it's where we activate the brain frequency at the highest intensity, which is called beta waves, right? And when we do some form of meditation, or when we calm down with breathing exercises, we're actually going down lower to the alpha state. Now, alpha state is where we become more relaxed, 9 to 14 hertz. And below that, when we are even more calmer, when we are in a hypnotic state, we call this the theta state, the theta frequency, 4 to 8 hertz. Our heartbeat slows down, we are very much regulated. We are almost in a REM mode when we are about to fall asleep. And then of course we got the deepest, most relaxed state, which is called the delta state or the snooze state already. You're totally unaware, unconscious. Hypnosis actually brings us down to a level of relaxation and therefore opening up this recess of the subconscious and the unconscious so that we are more suggestible, we are more programmable. So for those of us who want to reprogram our mind, our past even, so that we become more effective and become more fulfilling in our potential and go into what we call peak performance. This is the beginning of intervention and also resolution, where we're able to reprogram, recalibrate our subconscious such that it matches and it integrates with our conscious desires. Many of us want to set goals. Many of us want to fulfill our dreams and aspirations. It's just that is an activity of the conscious mind which is only 10%, and most of us, believe it or not, we will never achieve it until we activate and calibrate with our subconscious. It must come together because our subconscious is really the autopilot of our lives. If you do nothing with it, it's just going to bring you back repetitively in patterns.